Hello, and welcome to Saffron Honey Chai. Today, we're going to get a little controversial, of a controversial take on something, and I need you guys to stick with me through the duration because I'm here to speak out in defense of piracy. Now, this is not to say that I think everyone should be able to access everything for free forever, no matter what, through all time. No, no. I want people to get paid. I especially want artists to get paid for their work. However, as someone who grew up in the early 2000s and saw a lot of media become lost or never be accessible to the world, I really feel that Percy does have a role in our world, especially when it comes to the act of preserving certain works. Now, in this modern era right now, most people are not really buying physical media unless they're like super into physical media. It's not like before we would have like wall to wall DVD or VHS collections and he showed it off with pride. No, that's not happening anymore. It's more so that people are finding the film online or streaming it or, occasionally going to the theater, but like as sort of a treat. Why do that when you could just watch it at home? And I've seen a lot of shows leave streaming platforms where people were able to easily access them. And now you have to have one or two or three or sometimes even four subscriptions to get to something. Like if I want to watch a K drama I really enjoy, I can't just watch the K drama I like. No, I have to have a Disney Plus subscription and an Amazon Prime subscription and a Paramount Plus subscription to watch it. Certain things I would have to need that. Now, there are some you need all that just to watch it ad free. Not a problem. I don't mind an ad. Everyone needs that little race to do whatever during those 1 minute, 30 seconds. I see the value in it. But I've seen, especially creators, lose access to their intellectual property. Now, of course, I understand the legal issues. Well, if you sign with the company now owns the product. Yes, of course. But a lot of the artists who create different shows, like if you're a costume designer and you are working on a show and you really did a great job with the 18th century fashion that was present in the show and you want to show it off, if there's nowhere for you to get clips from to add to your own portfolio for you to show off when you're trying to get your next jobs, then what are you supposed to do? Especially if when you try to upload it, it gets copyright claimed. It's like, oh, you stole it. Now, of course, as I've said before, I do want people to get paid, and I especially want artists to get paid. But there's more than one way to make sure artists are not only getting paid, but being able to continue living their lives and continue making art. Artists need to be able to have access to their old work in order to get new work. People, okay, they see your name, they check the Wikipedia, but let's say you're an animator. If your animated show gets taken down after being finished, and now the only place you can find it is if you go hunt it down online on some third party website where you have to illegally download it because there's a gap between when it was taking down off of the streaming service that had it versus where another company is allowed to sell the license for it. License. Keep that word in mind. We're gonna come back to that. So now you're an animator and you have put your blood, sweat, and tears for months and months and months to create this show. Or hell, even just to create a short sequence in the show, because it takes a lot to do anything animated. And now you want to work somewhere else because your show just got canceled last minute. Of course, we love it here. So instead of the company that took your show off of the only place it was easily accessed, instead of them making it easy for you to get your show, okay? Instead of them making it easy for you and be like, hey, here's a complimentary, USB with a few choice scenes from the show for you, at the very least, a few choice scenes from the show for you. Instead, it's just nothing, nada, good luck, and to hell with you and any hope for residuals you may have had. Okay. So now we move on from there, and there's like several year long gap between then and when someone can buy something new. Okay. Okay. You're here with me? And even then, if you buy the license to a product, I need you all to understand very clearly. And I know that, at least I hope that specifically gamers understand this part very well. If you buy a digital product online, 9 times out of 10, you're not actually buying and owning that digital product. You are buying a license to that digital product, meaning you are buying the right to view that digital product under certain circumstances. Now, for many of us, you download the movie, it comes to your computer as an MP4, all done. However, there was a long period of time where people were like buying all these episodes from Amazon or buying all these books from, what was it? Nook? Not Nook. It was a Barnes and Noble's platform, and they were buying it, and then they took down the platform, and then coincidentally, hundreds, if not thousands of dollars of books are now gone forever. Yay! You wasted your money. Congratulations. And when they would call customer care would say, well, it said very clearly in the terms of service that you don't actually own it. You just rented the use of it for a time, and it can be rescinded at any point in time. That is something that online gamers know very well, because if you buy a game and you piss off Xbox or you piss off PlayStation too much, then what do you know? You're banned. And oh, well, can I at least have access to the game? No, suffer and die. Buy a new one with a new account and we'll ban you there too. Now, granted, you have to be doing something kind of crazy to get banned or, get caught up. I'm gonna let y'all slide on that one. But the point is, if you're not having physical media, you're not actually owning it. And even then, with physical media, sure, you own it now, right? You own it. But if something happens, like let's say you have a beautiful DVD collection, beautiful VHS collection, but God forbid there's a house fire and now all your stuff is gone and some of it was rare. For example, several years ago, I saw this amazing Invader Zim box set in the little complete box set house. It had the full replica of the house and all the little doobly-doos and all the stuff on it. And I was like, oh my God, I need it. And I didn't buy it. I was like, oh, it'll still be there the next day. And it wasn't. Somebody bought it. But that box set, even though it's a collector's item, it's a valuable item, anything can happen. And if there's only one of its kind or a few of its kind, then let's say there's 10 of them. Each new one that sustains damage or is absolutely destroyed is a new piece of that work's history that's just gone forever. And we're seeing this a lot, especially in this era of streaming first content. So a lot of things aren't even making it to DVD. They're not making it off the web at all. So people are going back to pirating things now. And for a long time, especially in like the anime world, there was some very strict internal cultural things of fandoms, internal cultural fandom rules, I'll say, that we would have in regards to piracy. And the rules would basically be this: if it's licensed, don't touch it. If it's a Japanese property that got an American license and they're actually going to make it for us now here, you don't touch it. You don't touch it. You don't even look at it. Don't even breathe on it. Don't you dare download it. And all the sites they used to have, they took them down before. So instead of watching your Naruto episode in 3 different parts on YouTube, now you have to wait for Viz Media, I believe, to drop it. Now you gotta wait. You gotta wait to see your next episode. You gotta wait for Shonen Jump to drop your next few chapters. I'm sorry about it, but I'm also happy about it. And people were really happy when initially anime got licensed like that because there's different kinds of licenses. Like if a company licenses a piece of media from another country, that's just like we're licensed to distribute it. Of course, they don't own it. The main company owns it, but there's a different type of license for everything. So we were very happy in those early days of basically anime getting legitimacy in America and actually being somewhat accurate to the source material. So there was a really, really long time, decades long time where people were just not touching it, or if they were touching it, it was like, well, I mean, I found it online, but I won't tell you where. And, now people, they don't really have to do too much to find what they want. If as long as everyone keeps getting along. However, as we see, there can be a lot of contention in the anime world, specifically recently in the past couple of years. Funimation and Crunchyroll merged, and then it bore the question: is this now a monopoly? Is there something that we have to do to step in to make you guys not have full control of anime streaming in America? What do we need to do about that? And with the way that they were trying to change up the subscription, a lot of people who at first were very pro, like, okay, no, we're gonna stick with licensing, we're gonna stick with it. We're like, to hell with this. We're gonna pirate. We're just gonna go find it elsewhere. And that's always been an option to go find it elsewhere, especially like if you're someone who travels or if you're someone who's from a country that will never get an official license. Especially in like art world, the art/comics world. In the art/comics world, there's a lot of stuff that will just never reach your country. For me, as a kid, I used to really, really enjoy reading manga scanlations. So there's a lot of specifically shoujo content that just never really got popular in America. So somebody online would scan it, translate it, and post it for our viewing pleasure. And we would gladly read it, put it in our favorites, tell the whole world about it. Oh my God, I love this story so much. Oh, where can I buy it? Oh, well, they didn't license it yet. And they never did. Or they license your manga and then they cut it off halfway through. 16 Tangoban in, 16 volumes in. And you cancel it? You cancel? I'll never forgive you, Tokyo Pop. I swear to God, I'll never forgive you, Tokyo Pop. But these are the things that we have to handle. And going back to animation, I mean, especially in the Western animation space, this is their bread and butter for them. They need not only the money to live from people purchasing and then the royalties from purchases or streams or whatever other arrangements they have with the company, but they also need to have access to it, and not even just for monetary reasons, for their purposes of their legacy. I remember reading about a creator whose work was taken down from HBO, their HBO streaming platform, when they transitioned from Go to Max. And they were saying, like, I can't even show my child my life's work. I put in everything to make this, essentially. And now the only place I can find it is on like a Russian server online, and I have to download it onto a hard drive. And that's the only way I can show a project that took half a decade of my life. This is the only way I can show my children this story that I worked so hard to create, in part for them. Because we don't just, create selfishly. We create for others. We create for our children, for our legacy, for our future. And so I I genuinely am in support of doing everything we can to preserve media and stop things from becoming lost media. Because all it takes is one company deciding to scrub everything off of the internet forever and saying, to hell with Infinity Train. And now we never see Infinity Train again. Although, luckily, I checked right before this episode. Luckily, Infinity Train is up to purchase licenses for episodes on Amazon Prime. Now, I know there's a lot of issues with Amazon Prime for many people, but it is available. You can do it if you want to. So there's that. And then for games. Now, I know I mentioned earlier that PlayStation or Xbox can knock you off for any reason, but there's also a lot of games that people just can't get anymore. The systems they use don't work anymore, or they're defunct and it never got brought to the next generation. And the emulator community is pretty big right now, and they just want to be able to play games like the games they liked. They're not making any money on it. They're not taking away from the profit because these companies, specifically Nintendo, don't come for me, don't actually want to re-release the game or bring back the console that the game was with. They don't want to do any of that. But they also don't want you playing it for some reason. I I genuinely don't understand it. I don't understand it because I can fully be behind, okay, you can't take this because this is taking money out of the artist's mouth. This is taking money out of the kid's artist's mouth. Like, you can't rob people, obviously. But if no one's using it and like they had to put in all this back end work to make it a playable copy, the way I see it, it's quite reasonable for them to like play it, especially if it's a part of their childhood or if they're not like trying to sell it or distribute it in any way, shape, or form. Like if they're just sharing it or sharing how they did it, even just people sharing how they did it, how they ripped it from one thing onto another thing, people are getting in trouble for that as well. Even just explaining that aspect is getting people in trouble. And I think that we need to really take our stewardship of media more seriously. And, for better or worse, the pirates unfortunately have it because they're preserving the media. They're letting people know by, tracking the downloads. They're letting people know, okay, this is what's popular. I remember reading a few years back when Game of Thrones was really popular that they knew they had to keep making episodes because they were pirating that at like light speed, damn near. So they knew they had to put in a lot of work to keep it up and to make sure that they kept on getting seasons because people were highly interested in it. And then when it became easier for them to do a normal streaming platform, the pirating numbers did in fact go down. Now, of course, Game of Thrones didn't exactly end well, as I've heard. But while it was going strong, people were really enjoying it, and that was a way that people were able to track that. And we also need to remember people pirating aren't always people in your country that are like trying to rob you. They could be someone in another country who it's technically illegal for them to watch it. So they're watching it and then deleting it and not making any money off of it. And they're just like, wow, I really love this. Send tweet. So I say all this to say, let's keep an open mind on some things. And obviously, let's try to be more understanding and work harder to figure out ways for people to protect their bottom line, because I understand companies, they want to make sure they're making their money, but also that you can protect the work that you will one day need. Because even if you don't need that particular piece of work from the artist, I'm telling you, the piper always comes back for their money. One way or another, you're going to need someone to do something for you. And if you pissed off everybody in the union and they don't want to do the work for you anymore, now you're going to have a whole other problem. And with that being said, go buy a piece of physical media and try to preserve everything that you love and hold dear. Have a great day. Like, comment, subscribe, and please don't illegally download this video. I work very hard to post it for you guys for free. Goodbye.